Alright everyone, welcome to your first GameMaker Beginners GML tutorial. Now I already had two tutorials up on GML, but I deleted them because I didn't think they were that good. So I'm just going to start all over from scratch. So what I plan to do is to take you guys from as if you don't even know what GML stands for, and you don't even really know how to use GameMaker that well. I'm going to take you from that point to a point where you can make decent games on your own in GML. Now GameMaker comes with something called drag and drop. And what you'll probably do as soon as you start using this program is you'll learn drag and drop. And you'll know how to add all the events and all the drag and drops, and you'll know how to make it do everything that you want it to do and all that fun stuff. The only thing is you'll develop very bad habits for later on when you get really good at GameMaker and you start using GML. Nothing annoys me more than when I open up a source file from someone else who made a game and I see drag and drop in there. It just drives me nuts because I want the GML version, because if I want to learn from that, I want to cut some of the code and maybe put it in my game. I don't know. It just drives me nuts when I see drag and drop, because anything you can do in drag and drop, you can do that and even more in GML. So I do not recommend learning GameMaker and just starting with drag and drop. I mean, it's cool, some of the things you can do with it. I'll use it sometimes just for extreme convenience, but I won't program the meat of my game in drag and drop, and I don't recommend you learn how to do that. I recommend just going right into GML. It will save you a ton of time. That way you don't have to learn both of the things here. You can just go right into GML. It's very easy to learn. You can learn it. Anyone can learn GML. It is so easy to learn, and I'm going to be teaching you. So it'll save you a lot of time reading tutorials and everything. You can just watch these videos. So one other thing that's very cool about GML is it has the basics, the very basics of what you're going to use for just about any other programming language you can learn. I mean, you'll be able to go right in the more advanced programs like, say, Python. Well, Python's not that advanced, kind of easy to learn too. But like C++ or stuff, and you'll know all the extreme basics. You'll know how if statements work, and you'll know all this stuff already. And that'll be because of GML. So when you go to learn another programming language, if you do, you might just want to stick with GameMaker and get really, really good at it. But if you go into another programming language, you'll know the basics, so you can just dive right into it. So, without further ado, I'm going to just go ahead and start on this tutorial. Now, in this tutorial, I'm going to be teaching you some basic moving principles for GML. And there's a lot of ways you can move your characters around, but I'm just going to show you a really quick and easy way to do it. Now, something I want to touch on really fast. You have all these folders. Make sure you go to File, and make sure Advanced Mode is already on if you haven't watched my GameMaker Basics tutorial. This is GameMaker GML Beginners tutorials. I have 3 other tutorials on the very, very basics of GameMaker, as if you've never even seen this program before. So I recommend watching that if you don't even know what the crap I'm talking about right now. So make sure Advanced Mode is on, and you'll get some more folders here, and we might be using these later on. So go into Sprites, and I want to touch on something really fast. You can see where you can name the sprite. Always make sure that all your resources in these folders have a different name. Now let me show you why. Let's say you make a sprite, and you just name them player, and then you make an object, and you name the object player. Well, later on when you start coding in GML, and even some drag and drop functions, it won't know what the crap you're talking about. Say you tell GML that you want to manipulate or use a resource that's named player, it won't know if you're talking about the sprite or if you're talking about the object. Same if you make a background named player or whatever you want to do, or a sound named player. I mean, you want to do that just to, it might be easy for you to remember, alright, I have a sprite named player and I have an object named player, and it's easy to remember, but it's not very good for you to do that because GML won't know what you're talking about. So this is a very basic thing that you want to do for all your resources. You want to label it. Now this is how I label it, and this is how most people label it. SPR for a sprite, you just go SPR_player, or instead of player, whatever you want to name your sprite. So I know that's basic, but just keep that in mind. So we have our player, or a sprite player here. Now let's edit the sprite, and let's add a new one. And I'm going to delete this. You just go up to File or New, and if you're really lazy, you can just click Control N. But we're going to make it 16 by 16. We're going to double click this image right here, and let's zoom way in. And we are going to make a blue circle here There we go. And let's put a little face on him, just because we're cool. Alright, so we have our object, or our sprite for our player now. And you'll see down here the origin, and you'll see X and Y. And I'll be teaching you guys about that, but for now just go ahead and center it and don't worry about it. So let's go ahead and make our object. Now for objects you put obg_player. And see, that way they have a different a different name. So let's assign the sprite. And now I'm going to be showing you guys some movement. Let's go ahead and make a room real fast. Just going to name it rm_level1. And I'm going to go ahead and put our object in this room. Now let's go back to object player, and let's start adding some movement. So we're going to add an event, add a keyboard event, and we're going to be doing all the different directions. So let's start with down, and let's go to the control tab over here in the drag and drop stuff. And you'll see under the code thing right here, you'll see this drag and drop function called execute code. Go ahead and drag that over, and this is where you'll be doing about 90% of your GML coding. So we're just going to put a very, very simple code. X plus equals 5, and we're going to end that in a semicolon. Click OK. Now let's go ahead and add another event, and let's add one for up. And we're going to go y minus equal 5 and end that in a semicolon. So let me make sure I had that right. Okay, now let's add another event, and let's make it left. Now let's make this x minus equals 5 semicolon. And now let's add one for right. And this one will be x plus equals 5 semicolon. Now you should be getting the picture. You probably, are realizing that y is vertical, meaning up and down, and x is horizontal, meaning left and right. And let me show you in the room that we made over here. You can see at the bottom of the window it has these numbers right here, x 16, y 416. Well, the number is going to change. So look, when I move my mouse up, the y position begins to decrease. When I move my mouse down, the y position begins to increase. When I move my mouse to the left, the x position begins to decrease. And when I move my mouse to the right, my x position begins to increase. And that is all we're doing with our object player. We're just simply, get out of the way, lady. We're just simply increasing and decreasing the x and y position for our player object. So when we run the game, let's go ahead and do that real fast. And let's say we move down, we're going to go down because the y position is increasing. When we move up, the y position is decreasing. And same with right and left. And that's why we can move all around here, because it's just changing the x and y position. And that is all that code really did. Ignore this error, you shouldn't get this. But I'm on a netbook that is not very good. So, and no, I'm not using Windows 95, I'm using Windows XP. This is just my skin. So, someone told me I needed to upgrade my computer a couple tutorials ago, and they were wrong. So, that's all this code does. And it's a very simple code, and we're going to be getting into what this plus equals and minus equals mean. And all this 5 means is the speed and how fast you want it to go. Now look, we can increase it to like 15 or 10 or 20 and he'll go faster, but we're just going to keep it at a nice comfortable speed of 5. So that is your very first GML tutorial, and that is how you move a character around or an object around. So I'll be taking it at a slower pace maybe next tutorial, and I'm going to be teaching you some more cool codes, and I'm going to be explaining what this is. And this is actually called an operator, and I'll be getting into more of that maybe in the next tutorial. We'll see how it goes. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next video. Oh, yeah, go to my website, www.zach-weber.com. Don't forget to subscribe, and like my video, thumbs up it, and comment.